Hey, hello, hi. So it's me, Zach, again. And right, so you've not actually. Right, I didn't realise I hadn't made a video for a month and that my last update was at 6 weeks. So this video is going to be focused on some of the changes which I've noticed in the last 6 weeks since my last proper transition update video. I know that I just made a video called 3 months, but let's talk about some of the more in-depth changes. And so I'm going to dedicate this video to Ed, who has been messaging me on Facebook, encouraging me to make this video and also talk about some of the negative effects of testosterone. And by negative, I don't mean necessarily bad side effects, also the pros and cons in my eyes of being on testosterone. Obviously, you can't pick and choose what changes that you have, and you might not have some of the changes that some people experience, and you might have changes that other people don't experience. It's all quite it's out of your hands, I guess. It's up to genetics and how your body reacts to testosterone and the form of testosterone you're on. Can depend on the speed of your transition. So, as you guys probably know, I'm on Testogel rather than injections, and so changes are coming much slower. I have a friend who is a very similar age to me, and we started testosterone with only a 2 week difference, or possibly even 1 week. So we're at very similar stages in our transition. However, he is on weekly injections and I'm on daily sachets, and so the speed of our transition has differed. And obviously, being on different forms of testosterone is not the only thing which has led to differences in our transition. We are of different ethnicities. He is uh, he's Scottish, and so if you know me, you might know who I'm talking about. But I'm not going to bring him into this because that would be rude of me. I've not asked him permission or anything. But I'm just talking about our backgrounds and our ethnicities and heritages. So he is somewhat more lighter skinned than me and fair haired, and whereas I, having um, Indian roots in me, um, obviously not literally, um, I should say, being of Indian family background, I have darker hair, and so part of these things I've noticed. So for him, I found speaking to him last week at Trans Pride, his voice has certainly dropped much faster than mine, and so his changes are more vocally and maybe physically. I didn't ask about that. Sorry, that was my finger in the way. And whereas for me, my voice is taking a much more longer time to change. However, I would say that my voice was initially a bit lower than his to start with, just from natural range. He's a singer, and he had a very, I think, soprano. I think a soprano voice. I could be wrong. Whereas my range, I don't sing, so I can't tell you in singing terminology, but it was registering as a high male or low female range. Um, but that aside, so the differences are I am hairy. We've established this. I'm just a hairy person, and so I am growing hair much faster than some of the other trans guys or non-binary folk, which I know. And so they're just differences in testosterone and the differences in how your body might respond to the hormone. Aside from that, on the topic of hair, I've spoken about this before, but my happy trio is considerably happy, and I'm also guessing you won't be able to see on hair, but I'm getting darker hairs on my just random dark hairs coming through. I used to have like a peach fuzz all over my shoulders, back, all that jazz. But now, being on the hormone blockers, like I mentioned in previous videos, the hormone blockers stopped that fuzziness, and my hair went very light. But now it's growing in back darker, closer to my natural hair colour, and also these random dark hairs are creeping in on my shoulders, my chest. I don't know if I like that. So that's probably going to go into, when Ed, you asked about the negative side effects, that's probably for me is a negative part, because I don't particularly enjoy being hairy. I've come to terms with being hairy, and I didn't experience bullying for being hairy, but just negative comments. I've always received sorry, my camera froze. I've occasionally received negative comments from people for being hairy, or just criticism, and also just being socialised as a female. Having hair is not seen as a positive thing, so I guess I'm just struggling to overcome that mindset and that way I've been socialised, and to embrace the hair, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Aside from that, other changes, I think my voice is slowly changing. I think maybe I'm going to be one of those people who the voice drop is gradual and slow, as opposed to some of the people that you might see, or rather hear, where they have a sudden voice drop